Mobtv.
Hi, good evening. My name is Donald and this is Mobtv. Today we are talking about the pandemic that has been troubling the world, and that is coronavirus, COVID-19 as it were. Corona is actually a complex word to it, and COVID-19 is the strand of the virus that has been giving the world a lot of horror and terror. A lot of people have been coming up with conspiracy theories, and a lot of people have been coming up with opinions, and they are said to be conspiracy theories and whatnot. I have today on the call no other person but Chinyere, who is actually a presenter. She is a social justice advocate in Canada, and she is an indigenous of Nigeria but who resides now in Canada. So we have Chinyere on the line, and I thank you so much for coming on board with us, Chinyere, and we really do appreciate you. Okay, first of all, what is your perception about this pandemic, and what is your precautionary measures towards being safe?
My perception of the pandemic is it is real. I believe it is real, and especially because I know people who have been affected by it. Some unfortunately have lost their lives. Some others are in the hospitals being treated. So for me, it's real. And in trying to stay safe, I follow the instructions of those at the forefront of handling this pandemic. Those instructions they give us about social distancing, practicing proper hygiene, washing our hands regularly as often as possible, avoiding unnecessary trips outside our cities, going outside when you don't have to. I really practice those. I don't go out unnecessarily. I stay at home as much as possible. I practice that a lot.
All right, thank you so much. As a social justice advocate, how do you respond to a lot of conspiracy theories that have been moving around the cyberspace and the whole world? A lot of conspiracy theories are coming up. How do you respond to it?
With regards to the conspiracy theories, there are a lot of them out there. I know one that I saw recently was about the virus emanating from or being produced in a lab, and the sole purpose is to reduce populations, especially the black population. And then there's also one I heard about the Bill Gates being behind it, behind the virus, the coronavirus. And I also remember the one about the existence of a vaccine, but this is not being released. That those in the Western world have the vaccine, but they don't want to release it. And some others have said that the coronavirus is a bioweapon. Some have blamed China for it, that they want to use it as a bioweapon against the US. And some others have said that it's nothing to be taken seriously. It's nothing worse than the common flu that people really have. In Nigeria, it's the normal, they attribute it, they compare it with the normal cold and catarrh we have. But we know this is not normal. Cold and catarrh usually don't kill people, but the coronavirus has killed over 100,000 people worldwide. So it's worse than that. And I know that also they talked about it's people predicting the virus. Especially there's this book that was released in the 80s, I think, where there was a mention of the Wuhan 400 disease that kills people. But all this are just theories, and they said, it said, conspiracy theories. So I know when things like this happen, one or two persons will come up with one theory or the other just to explain what is happening, but they're just it is theories. I don't really believe.
Bill Gates and Melinda Gates, actually, they've predicted that human beings are going to drop like animals in Africa because of poor infrastructure and their visit to numerous countries in Africa and poverty level, and they don't know how to go about handling all these issues. So how do you respond to that?
Regards to what Melinda Gates said about Africans dropping on the streets and dying in large numbers if nothing is done to mitigate the effects of the coronavirus. Personally, I think I understand where she's coming from. Maybe the problem a lot of people have is the way the message was passed. But even at that, I kind of understand why a lot of people frowned against it, because before now it was believed that the coronavirus does not affect blacks, but now, especially with the case of Black Americans in the U.S., that has been proved false. So for a lot of people, her saying that just meant that before that there's been this talk about the West wanting to hear messages of doom from the African continent about people dying en masse from the coronavirus, but that hasn't happened. So for her saying that, it just went to fill back what they've been saying about the West, how the West has been hoping that a lot of Africans would die from the virus, but this hasn't been happening. So for her to say this, it's just filling or going back to what they think the West has been wanting to predict or have predicted, but and waiting to happen, that hasn't happened. So I think that is just why a lot of people had a lot of not very really pleasant things to say about her statement. But the truth is, if we don't do anything about it, we can get as bad as it is in Ecuador right now.
As a Nigerian, and you've been observing closely, like, do you think you're quite impressed with the way the Nigerian government is actually going about handling this pandemic in Nigeria? Do you think you're impressed? Do you have any way or suggestion you need to make? What is your take?
With regards to in Nigeria, that is a dicey question to ask about how I think the Nigerian government has been handling the pandemic. Many people you asked will tell you that we should have done more, especially during the early stages when reports started trickling in. Some people said we should have closed our borders, we should have practiced social distancing more, but we didn't do all that. We waited till it was a little too late to do that. Flights were coming in from China and these high-risk countries, without measures being taken to halt or check people coming in from these countries. And from some others, they feel the health systems were also the health institution or our health system wasn't prepared for it. Some people you speak to will tell you that the isolation centers are not what they should be. As a result, when patients go there, they don't have very pleasant experiences. But Lagos, fortunately, stepped up to the game. From the reports we've heard, they are doing well. Other states are just being encouraged to emulate Lagos. If every other state tries as much as possible to do up to what Lagos state is doing, maybe, just maybe, we might be able to manage the situation as best as possible.
Thank you so much, Inyere, for coming around on Mobtv. We really do appreciate having you, and these are personal opinion towards this pandemic and how to handle it and how she's been going around it. I don't know what you think. Whatever you think, just put that on the comment section below and hit the subscribe button, notification bell, so when we post a video, you will be the first to get alerted. Then on our Facebook page, it is at Mobtv. Then on Instagram at Mobtvng. Just hit the follow button. It's very important. Thank you.